Good evening, everyone. My name is Alan Smason, and welcome once again to NOLA Theater Talk. This is part of the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group that we started up. If you want to become a member, all you have to do is ask. And also, we broadcast to the theatercriticism.com Facebook page every Monday and Friday night. Also, we're broadcasting to my own YouTube channel, Music Lovers 169. And for those of you who are interested, all of those sites, including my own personal Facebook page, if you're a friend of mine, will be able to see that as well because it's all archived on those sites. So we hope that you'll be sticking around for what we're going to have tonight, a very, very interesting talk with some of the best choreographers in New Orleans. Now, again, I did not get everybody who's a choreographer. I've not intentionally left anybody out, but there's only so many people I can ask to the party, and I hope that people will understand that this is not the end-all of all of the choreographers in New Orleans. I am certainly going to be mindful of the fact, just like I did earlier when we had the set designers, I'm going to probably have another iteration of this later on, and we'll invite people who were not invited to this particular discussion tonight at that time. Also, before we get started, I would like to remind everybody that we are going to have a very special reading on Monday night of Clark and Carol. This is a brand new work, unpublished, by Rosary O'Neill. It's going to star Kelly Lind as Carol Lombard and Robert Pavlovich as Clark Gable. And with that as a lead off, I hope that you'll join us for that at 8 o'clock on Monday night. And I'm going to bring in our first guest who I think has a more than simple acquaintance with Robert Pavlovich. That would be her husband. And again, Diane Lala, we want to thank you for being here. You're our first guest tonight. And first off, I understand you have a new grandchild in the family that you're seeing. Yes, are we hearing you?
Yes, we are currently in Colorado.
But
hello.
More to the point, it's your new grandchild. Right?
We're currently in Colorado.
Yes. And
yes, my new grandson. We're very excited.
That and as we would say in showbiz, mazel tov. That's wonderful. And again, Robert was very, very effective.
Thank you.
In the last show that we did of Maryland God, that was just prior to our John Bigonnet Rising Water presentation. And so he did a little part there where he sort of mimicked Clark Gable. And Rosary O'Neill and I both picked up and we said, oh my goodness, he does a pretty good Clark Gable. I bet he'd be great in the role. So he was very kind. And again, I would say that you all have some good, what they call nachas, some good joy and simcha, some wonderful times, but you also suffered a little loss in the family as well, a major loss, not a little, but that hopefully you all are going to recover that, a major death in the family too. My condolences.
Yeah. Thank you.
So anyway,
Bob's dad passed away, and his.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I mean, I just wanted, to put that out there because, just as they say in The Sound of Music, when God closes the door, sometimes he opens a window. You've lost, your father-in-law, but you have a new grandchild to commiserate with as well and to take joy in. So again, thank you for being here tonight. Diane, I'm again leading off with you, but we could have led off with a whole bunch of people. Choreography is an art that we don't really get to talk about as often as we should. All the time we talk about the music and we talk about the lyrics, but when there is a musical involved and there is dance, and again, I would say that choreography is more than just dance because it really is movement on stage. Wouldn't you say that to a certain extent?
Yeah, it is. The thing about choreography, especially in musical theater, is it needs to tell a story. It needs to bring the story to life. That's the job. There are occasions in musicals where some of the numbers are there for pure entertainment, but more and more choreography is becoming part of the storytelling. I think you can see that everybody, I'm sure, has just gotten Disney Plus and has watched Hamilton. Very important that that choreography and movement is to telling the story.
Can you Tell me what you thought of that. Was it the first time you saw Hamilton, or you've seen it before?
No, I've seen it. Not at the public before anybody knew it was going to be a thing.
Right.
And then I got to see. So,
well, Andy Blankenbuehler got
the
Tony
choreographer,
Award.
Andy Blankenbuehler.
Yeah, and again, you know, I think it was really brilliant. And again, the work that he did a little bit later on, where he was director in the show with Laura Osnes, and it was the big band thing that they did. I'm blanking right now.
Yeah, it was called Bandstand.
Bandstand. What an amazing show he did there too. Yeah.
Bandstand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bandstand. So let me ask you a quick question before we. Yeah. You're sort of breaking up a little bit, but I think we'll manage to drive through. So can you?
Yeah,
hear
we
me
have a
okay?
bad connection.
Yeah, it's probably that Denver connection.
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to ask what you had, because in Rob's honor, because they're doing Clark and Carol, about Clark Gable and Carol Lombard on Monday, I decided to make a Jean Harlow. Now, many people don't know, but the last movie Jean Harlow starred in was Saratoga Trunk, and she died right after that. She starred in that with Clark Gable. So as a tie-in to Clark loves Carol, and so I made a Jean Harlow, and this is equal parts rum, and this is NOLA rum, and sweet vermouth. So what did you have tonight?
Ooh. I'm having some Pinot Noir.
Ah, very nice.
I love wine. So.
All right. Well, speaking of things that sound French or have a French-sounding name, I'd like to bring in our next choreographer, and there she is. That's Jauné Buisson. Let me make sure I have her title up there. Jauné, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm amazing. Thanks for having me, Alan.
And may I ask what you're having? I know you've got a newborn too over there, so you're probably not drinking too much, but you may be having a little wine. I don't know. What is that?
We don't want to pump and dump, so we're having some jalapeno limeade with just a splash of tequila.
Ah, okay. And you've already seen what Diane is. Now, you two work often together, don't you?
Yes, very much.
One
of my favorite collaborators.
Tell me a little bit about how you all first began your association.
Well, the first time
we've known each other.
Oh yeah, forever.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think I probably terrified her, because I think I wanted to like lick her skin off. Like every word she said in auditions, I was like this. So I was probably that annoying child at auditions that they were like, okay, when you mature and we're ready for you, we'll bring you in. But I think it was Will Rogers Follies at Summer Lyric in 2001 was our first endeavor together. And that was amazing, because Will Rogers Follies is such a massive show, and it's so much about the precision, hat knee, ankle knee, all of that. And Diane took that famous choreography, put her own spin on it, and it was just the most rewarding and exhilarating time, because that was one of those shows at Summer Lyric that you learn the number and then you don't do it again until the preview audience. There has been other shows where, you know, we get time to go back and finesse. Not Will Rogers Follies. That was a freight train. So I'm very happy.
I should ask. Was that the Will Rogers Follies? Was that who was in the role there? Of
Jimmy
Will?
Murphy.
That's what I was about to ask. Is that the one where Jimmy Murphy was? Yeah, he did a great job in that. Let's see if we can continue our association. I'm going to talk about some of the pieces that you've all done, but I want to bring in some more people. Let us go to another. Our next two collaborators kind of have actually worked together. The first I'm going to bring up, and if you saw this unbelievable Once on This Island, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and that's Polanco Jones from. You know, I saw the revival of Once on This Island not that long ago at Circle in the Square, and they did an amazing job. But I still kept comparing it to what you did, Polanco.
For some reason, Alan, I can't hear anything you're saying.
You can't hear? Okay, then what you might want to do, Polanco, if you can, is take yourself out of the. I'm going to kick you out and have you come back in. Can you kick? If I kick you out, will you come back in? Can you hear me?
No, I cannot.
Okay,
I'm
I
reading
take.
your lips currently.
Okay.
Prior to this, I could hear everything perfectly.
All right, I'm gonna have to do a little chat with you. Kick yourself out and come back in. Let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. I don't know. Can he read that? Okay. Well, I'm gonna kick you out and you come back in. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna kick you out and you come
Perfect.
back in. All right. Very good. There we go. Let's kick him out. Let's get him out of the studio. Come back in. I hate to do that. So anyway, Polanco was doing an incredible job, as I mentioned, on Once on This Island, and I remembered the wonderful choreography he had done in that. And again, hopefully he'll be right back along with us. In the meantime, I guess what I should do is bring in another choreographer who's worked with Polanco. Not only worked with him, but actually starred in the same show with him and Ain't Misbehaving, as I recall. Right, Jarrell?
Yes.
Jarrell Hamilton, welcome to our show. And again, you know, have you seen our show before? Or is this the first time?
This is the first. This is the first.
All right. So we're on Mondays and Fridays, but you know, we've addressed a number of situations. This is our first time talking to choreographers, and I hope that Polanco will come back. But in the meantime, I want to advance the situation with you. I mean, you've done a lot of things at Loyola. You did some. I know you just had. I'm sorry. You had just been choreography for some jazz. You've done some things over at the Marigny Opera House as well. And I know some things, like I saw some of the things that you said you'd done that I hadn't been able to see. Some of the smaller things like at Fortress of Lushington, but also some of the bigger things like at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. That's got to be a little daunting. What do you think?
You know, I did the Super Bowl when I was in high school. I did a couple of things before I actually became like a professional dancer and choreographer. So I've been in the game for quite some time now, and we'll be resurrecting or doing an original work at Southern Rep this year, Chemin du Bayou. So I just got commissioned to do that at Southern Rep, and we're reimagining what that's gonna look like in the midst of the pandemic. And I'm really excited about, you know, just all of the possibilities that's gonna come forward with that. So that's yeah.
And that was a relatively new commission, was it not, for Southern Rep?
Yes, an original work and probably one of their last work that they're going to do. Hopefully not, but as of right now, yes.
Tell me a little bit about what kinds of work that you've done with Polanco, since he's not here right now. Can you familiarize us with what he's done, so we can at least start talking about his work?
Polanco, we've just been in the studio, just works in progress, just working on just some different concepts and ideas. We also worked on Taken with KM Dance Project, which was an original work about Black men in incarceration. Of course, we did Ain't Misbehaving, and much more I can see in the future with him and I. So yeah, mostly right now we're just in the studio, just developing concepts to create our own original work. All
right. Well, you know, while we're waiting for Polanco to show back up, let me introduce the fifth member of our group tonight, and that's Heidi Malnar. Heidi, welcome again. You know, I might call you the Queen of Tap. And again, now you've worked with all of these people before, or not? There's somebody you haven't worked with, right? You haven't worked with Diane, right?
I haven't worked with Diane. We've only spoken on the phone, but I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of her work, and I think Jauné, you and I worked at some strange convention together, but not dance related. We were just gigging. So
living that gig life, yeah.
Yeah. So this is great to see everyone here. I'm so happy to be here.
And again, we're talking, for those of you who are just joining us right now, we're talking about choreography and the importance of it to a musical piece, to a jazz piece. I mean, we talk about choreography in many different iterations. Of course, most of the time we think about it, you know, we tend to think about some of the big choreographers on Broadway, And again, one of the things I mentioned I wanted everybody to do was kind of come up with their own hero to talk about somebody who's had an influence on you in your life. But I didn't want to do that until I got Polanco, and I'm going to have to check. It looks to me like I might have gotten an email from him, but my email's sort of frozen right now, so I'm not quite sure what to tell you. I hate to hear that he's not coming, and I know he was there, but I could still hear him.
Text him? I can text him.
Yeah, tell him get his his dancing shoes into the room, please,
All right.
because it's getting a little bit late, and I don't want him to miss out on the opportunity, please. So in the meantime, let me go back and talk a little bit about what we're tell him I kicked him out, but not permanently. I want him to come back. Sometimes if you go out of the room, it'll correct whatever problems there are, and you'll connect perfectly. So
Okay.
I've found that to be the case with this particular application. So let me before we get going, let me see if I can bring up at least one of the pictures that I've got from people to start off. And yeah, while you're texting, Jarrell, I'm going to go ahead and talk again to Diane. Diane, this is, I believe, Jesus Christ Superstar. And again, I apologize. The quality of the picture is not as sharp as I'd like. It is a smaller picture. Now, can you describe what's going on here for the benefit of our viewers?
Yeah, this is right at the end of the show when Jesus is crucified. And so I had talked with great designers at the Conservatory of Music where I work at the University of Cincinnati. And I wanted to do the crucifixion with lights, have the cross be lights. And so when he dies, the lights actually kind of blinded the audience, and you just sort of got this vision of this silhouette of a man. And so this is right at the end of the show. I've really had a fabulous time doing it.
So Diane, if I may ask, which do you like better, directing or doing choreography?
Can I just say
Both?
Yeah, there are times that I like doing both at the same time, and then if I get somebody like as fabulous as Jauné to work with, then I love having somebody there with me to sort of bounce things off. I mean, musical theater is such a collaborative art form, and so the more people you have that you trust that are there with you, it's the best.
Okay. Let me go back to Polanco. Welcome back. I'm sorry about that. I can hear you now, though. Can you hear me okay?
Hi.
You can hear me okay now?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic.
I don't know what happened. Yeah, I can hear you.
It's okay.
Well.
It's all good. Polanco, let's talk a little bit of what I was starting to talk about this particular iteration of Once on This Island. Oh my goodness. And I still was just reveling in this thing when it was over with. I was still thinking about it, all the different things you did with this. Have you seen the original, the very first one on Broadway that Chance was in, or not?
I've seen clips. I've seen clips of the original. Of course, I didn't have access to the full thing.
Yeah. What was in your mind as far as how were you going to carry that particular Ahrens and Flaherty show off? What was it you wanted to do with your choreography?
Well, I wanted to tell a story.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, musical theater choreography specifically is used to tell a story. And in that show specifically, they sing, "This is why we tell the story." So I really wanted to capture storytelling as well as understand and truly accurately represent the community. This story is about a community coming together and saving this young girl. Although she was cared for by Tantan, and her and Mama Yureli, excuse me, the community really got together and they told a story to her, and through that story, she was able to find a better life for her community and a better life for the people around her. So I hope that with the movement, we were able to capture the essence of community and share that story.
And she was able to save the life of that young man as well, even though he didn't necessarily return the favor as much as we would have liked him to. But, that's part of the story. Polanco, what do you have?
I think that's because a lot of people expect a love story from that, and it's not about a love story.
Yeah. That's true.
That's why.
It's true. It's
It's
about
not
her.
about her
It's about her
saving him.
heart, isn't it? More than
It's
anything
about
else?
her being saved and her saving the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was
Timu
having a
learned
little.
to love more than just passionately.
I was having a little bit of rum tonight, and so that sort of ties in with Once on This Island. What are you having?
Mm-hmm.
What are you having in the room?
I am having tequila tonight. I am having tequila with a little ginger and a splash of grenadine.
And do you call that anything, or is that a special name, or just sort of a special cocktail, the Polanco Special?
The Polanco Special.
All right. Now that's two tequilas. Heidi, what did you have for your drink tonight?
I'm just having a Chardonnay.
Okay.
A warm summer night. Chardonnay.
And Jarrell, what happened to Jarrell? I'm sorry to say.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we keep losing him right by left. All right. Well, hopefully she'll be back. She knows how to get back in. Did I get to everybody's drink? Diane, Heidi, Jauné. I think we got everybody. I just have to ask Jarrell when she comes in and fill us in on that. So let me go ahead and go to Jauné. This is one of your recent performances. This is from Something Rotten, correct?
Yes.
What an amazing show! This show was so well done, and the fact that Little Pete was able to get some of the original national tour actors to take part in it was such a blessing.
Yes.
Bob, the local theater talent that we have down here was just so strong, just so very strong, and I have to say, welcome back, Jarrell. That was a great work, and I know that must have been fun to do.
Thank you. That was. It's such a smart, intelligent piece. You really have to know all of your musical theater history and be able to catch on to the nuances in the choreography. Here's a tableau from Hello Dolly. That we even got to like incorporate some stuff that wasn't in the original, like we put some Hamilton choreography into it. And it would be really interesting to see like what would elicit laughs from the real seasoned, educated theater goers. Yeah. But what a great piece. And what a fantastic representation of our city on that stage as well. Yeah.
It was. But again, if you're a theater lover, and I saw it, at the, I think it was the St. James. It was hands down one of the most fun times I ever had in theater because of all the little Easter eggs and all the little inside jokes, where they go from scrubbing the floors with Annie, to doing the holding up the resume picture from a chorus line. Everything was so wonderfully done. And to our credit, I know we like to take credit for ourselves. Jarrell gone again. We'll hopefully she'll come back. We also had two guys who were actually from Louisiana who were instrumental in getting that show off the ground. So again, fantastic that we have that connection.
Their uncle came to the show one night.
What's that?
His uncle came to the show. We got to meet. Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, because I think they were born originally like in Baton Rouge, and then they ended up in Shreveport or something like that before. One of them went to Nashville, and I think the other one may be in Los Angeles now. I'm not quite sure. But in any event, I was happy. I actually got to meet one of the writers backstage. So that was at the St. James. And again, the fellow who played the I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. The first actor you see on stage who does that wonderful little piece about that was so. What was it? He does the thing about Welcome to the Renaissance. And so that was Michael James Scott, who went on to become the genie in Aladdin, which unfortunately is, as we all know, shut down. But a great actor and so much fun with that role. Let me go on again. Since we hadn't talked, I'm going to have to hold off on Jarrell's pieces because we hadn't had a chance to do that. Heidi, this looks like all you, all you. I mean, are you happiest with tap shoes on? I'm just asking.
I mean, who isn't, right? I am. That was me and Jesse Ellen Portia doing Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers piece called Bounce in the Blues from Barclays of Broadway. And that was in a show I produced called Hoofing for Heroes, which was a tribute to the armed forces, but also tap dancers who either served in the armed forces or performed in the USO or something, one or the other. So
and you've done a lot at the World War II Stage Door Canteen, correct?
I have, yes.
Well, we'll talk about some of the other things you've done as well. But Jarrell, while you're here, first off, Jarrell, what are you drinking tonight?
Agua.
Agua. Is that in a nice fancy glass with a gold rim on the top? Looks like.
Yes, darling.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
The only way to drink water. It's the only way to drink water.
All right.
And I have a little zest of lemon.
I happen to have some water in the form of ice that chilled my drink. So there you go.
Very good.
Jarrell, before you leave again, let me show one of your pieces. And again, I believe this was something about watermelon. So maybe you can tell me exactly what this is. But
my goodness. Okay, so that's a piece I did back in 2018, which is about the main character, who's her, that's me. Antebellum, who is dealing with an identity crisis, and it is through ancestral memory and also the Orishas, who we have come to know them in New Orleans as Catholic saints. She comes through that lineage, Orishas, to come into herself, not into her identity, because identity sometimes can be it can sort of be a construct in some sense. So she's coming into herself. She is becoming in this work. And the watermelons came about. It was two things. One, it was a favorite pastime with me and my grandmother. She would always feed us watermelons. But then as I began to look deeper into the history of watermelons, of course, it was a racist trope for African Americans. But before it was a racist trope for African Americans, it was a symbolism of their freedom after the Emancipation Proclamation, because they were able to sell watermelons to make money. So really, it was a symbol of their freedom. So I kind of like flipped that racist trope of watermelon and was like, you know what? I'm gonna love on these watermelons because one, it was a favorite pastime with me and my grandmother, which was an ancestral memory, but it was also symbolic of free people of color and their freedom. So.
And watermelons also just recently in one of the last plays that Le Petit did in August Wilson's The Piano Lesson, they were selling watermelons to make money. So absolutely, and hopefully we get a chance to talk before you disappear again. But we're gonna hopefully keep you in the room. All right, Jarrell, that's really lovely. Again, do you fancy doing more pieces like that? Art pieces, or do you like the more traditional kind of work within a play or somebody else's direction?
I love them both. I love getting into, the nitty gritty, very deep side of art, right? And then I also like the splash of just joy and happiness that musical theater, really brings, that has brought into my life, which is why I've kind of been transitioning more into musical theater. I don't think I can ever get away from concert, but musical theater is just something about, you're always happy, you're always on, it's bright, it's light, and I like it all. I appreciate it all. And I've had really great master teachers that have taught me to just be versatile as an artist, and to not limit myself to just one thing, but to explore and expose and embrace it all.
Right. Okay. Well, it's time for me to have you be the first of the people to reveal who your choreography hero is. Who did you take?
Can I pick two?
Inspiration.
Can I pick two?
Well, you can pick one right now, and we have time. We'll come back. Who's the one that you can really grab?
She's not a choreographer in the sense that we all know it, but I would have to say Harriet Tubman. She had a movement, and it was choreographed, and it was strategic. and it wasn't choreography in the way that we see
Right.
choreography, but
Okay.
she choreographed the movement.
Okay.
So Harriet Tubman for me.
Okay. So I guess you're gonna now make me go. Who's your number 2 then?
Now I got my number 2, Michelle Gibson.
Well, because I'm trying to get somebody to talk about dance inspiration. So that's what I really want to
Michelle Gibson. She is my mentor, and she is currently in Dallas, Texas. She has her work right now is very much rooted in second line culture, in Native American indigenous movement of New Orleans. And she's been doing that work for over 20 years now. And she's definitely somebody I look up to and inspires me greatly. And she's just an awesome individual. Michelle Gibson.
Okay. Michelle Gibson. All right. Let me go opposite to the other lady down below there. Heidi.
Yeah.
With your experience in tap, I'm gonna figure that you're gonna come up with somebody who I might have some sort of knowledge of, but who would be your hero in dance, who you take inspiration from?
As far as choreography, sorry, the dogs are squeaking the squeakers, of course, when I'm talking. As far as choreographers, I mean, I think I could speak to somebody that I've had the pleasure of working with, and that would be Billy Siegenfeld of Jump Rhythm Jazz Project, which is a Chicago-based dance company. And what he brilliantly did was sort of take jazz rhythms and jazz fundamentals and break them into energetic and narrative concepts. And so he created an original technique, which is based on energy and rhythm and vocalization and human connection, and is, we would wear tap shoes or jazz shoes in the pieces, but everything that we did was from a rhythm first perspective. So when we would learn choreography, we would have to learn a rhythmic phrase and just shaddigity da 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 before we were able to learn any movement to it. So I think that's really given me a way to really, really spend a lot of time with music. And to that influence.
Polanco, who is your hero in choreography or dance?
Before I launch into who my hero is, I just have to, if we could back up a little bit, just because of how I feel about movement. I feel like it would be unfair to say that Harriet Tubman couldn't be an inspiration for choreography and movement, because I find inspiration sometimes in little things like caterpillars crawling across the floor, the way people move and carry themselves. So inspiration can come in the breeze as far as true choreography and the essence of movement is considered. So I had to say that first. As far as a dancer, a mover that I find inspirational and I feel like has really helped me find a lot of myself as an artist, I would say Bill T. Jones, hands down. I've had the pleasure of working with him, of being taught by him, and he really helped me understand the beauty of being, the simplicity of structure, and really just being sure and making sure that you have something to say, saying it so that it's heard, and then moving on.
Okay. All right. So far, I haven't heard some of the people that I thought might be mentioned in first breath, but you know what? There's always that chance that Diane will come up with one that I know. Go ahead, Diane.
I have to say, it depends on the day and it depends on the show that you're doing, who that person is. But I'm going to go with Jarrell Hamilton, because the way he went from kind of the ballet world and then moved into choreography and then into directing. And he conceived, West Side Story. I mean, that's the first show that's conceived, directed, and choreographed by the same individual. So I feel like that's like really, there's so many amazing, talented choreographers that we can, we all take a little bit, as they say, from the best. right?
Oh, yeah.
All had
All right. Well, so
it's
we're
wonderful,
unfortunately, you're breaking up a little bit. Yeah.
throughout the years.
Okay. Jauné, your turn.
Well, before we had access to the entire world through our phones and the internet, I have two.
Come on, come on,
Yeah.
too.
Jarrell had two, so you're entitled, I guess.
The closest that I could get to like real dance was sneaking out of my bed at 4 a.m. to go watch Fame with Debbie Allen. I wanted to be Debbie Allen. So that's my number one. And then as I grew up and like slowly started to learn, what pieces I was drawn to, there was always Bob. It will always be Bob. I wanted
Yeah.
find,
Of course.
I remember growing up in it going, that's him too.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it allowed me to embrace as a dancer because, I was classically trained, but, the ballet world, I got a little too much for that. Okay. It allowed me to embrace, the curvature of my spine.
Come on.
Perfect in Bob's world. So I'm forever grateful. Yeah.
Okay. So great choices. Everybody had great choices, and they all mean, a lot to everybody. And I know that they are your valid choices. But it's funny. I was thinking somebody's going to say Gregory Hines. Somebody might have said Fred Astaire or Gene Kelly. And
Right.
maybe even gotten involved with some of the more modern things like The Lion King and things of that sort that we might be thinking. But nobody
Fosse
mentions
is also my favorite.
So it's amazing that everybody has their own choices, and again, what's valid to one person may not be valid to the others. But again, I think that they all resonate because they all have validity in your work, and it's so important to see that you all have gotten that kind of inspiration, and that other people can also draw the inspiration, because every one of you teaches. I mean, not one of you is taking time off not to teach. Diane, you're at University of Cincinnati, the conservatory. Jauné, you have your own. You're teaching out of your house. Heidi, you're doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Teaching out of your house. Polanco, you've been up in New York, coming back and forth. And Jarrell, the same thing. You've been working around. I mean, nobody is resting on their laurels. They're all getting out and teaching the youngsters of today so that they can be the dancers and choreographers of tomorrow, which is incredible. That's keeping it going and continuing it and paying it forward. And that's so important. So I wanted to get back to some more of your work. So, we're getting towards the second half of the evening, and I wanted to talk a little bit more. If I can go back to Diane, we already saw one part of Jesus Christ Superstar. That's the end. This is more towards the beginning, I assume?
I think this is the actual Jesus Christ Superstar number.
Okay.
That's Judas, yeah.
So that's almost towards the end then. It's in the second half, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, you had it set on different levels. And in terms, when you have people up above like that doing dance sequences, etc., you concentrate on the way that it's going to be seen in an audience where people will be seeing, let's say, the ones on stage level differently than the ones that are up above, who might be like in a balcony, that you're going to know that they're going to see those people more than they might see the ones on below.
Yeah.
Scale it back in some way. Yeah.
You have to kind of take into account wherever you are. This particular theater that this was in, the seating is looking down at the stage. And so I knew that for some people, the people on the second level would actually be at eye level. I love sets that give me levels to kind of play around with. We're lucky at Summer Lyric to have Rick Paul, who always gives us wonderful things to play on, and it really helps tell the story and bring a whole picture. It's not just about the one person dancing, it's about the whole feeling that you get from the stage.
Yeah, fantastic work though. And again, I'm going to get back to one of your other ones, one of your more traditional ones, I think, that you did at Summer Lyric. But let me see if I can get back to one of the pieces that Jarrell did. Jarrell, this is what? This is Stories Without Words. Is that what that was?
Yes. Stories Without that was done in 2000, I think 18 or 2019. With a theater company by the name of Radical Buffoon. Shout out to John Green.
Sure.
This particular work was entitled exclamation points. So it wasn't actually what was really special about it was stories without words. So we were just creating movement without words. And this particular piece was exclamation points. And the way I developed it was through musical chairs. And we developed the piece through musical chairs, and then it became like these really socially themed tableaus that were throughout. So we were bringing forth the whole thing about what is Black Lives Matter. We were talking about like people building the wall when Trump was talking about building the wall. Like we were just touching on so many things throughout the tableaus. So it's a really, really unique and sort of edgy piece that we did. And one thing that I'm noticing about a lot of my work, well, at least the history of my work, is it's sort of foretelling of things that's happening now. Like I did a piece in 2015 that was talking about the revolution would not be televised by Gil Scott-Heron, and now it's like Obama was president, and now all of this is going on. And then within Stories Without Words, because there was like 12 pieces within it, there was the very first piece was by Sade, and then there were just bodies dropping at the very beginning of the piece. And I'm like, now that I'm thinking about it in hindsight, I'm like, whoa. I'm like, it's kind of like what we're seeing happening now. But I didn't know that then. I was just following what was in, what needed to be told. As Nina Simone would say, your art should reflect the times. And so I'm really true to that. I feel like we all are true to reflecting the times in our own way. But it is a little on my end kind of freaky.
Yeah. So I guess I have to ask you, have you done anything recently? Have you been inspired to set something based on what's going on?
Oh my gosh. I am literally like, this is an incubation process for me right now as an artist. And it's a really good one. And there is so much that's bubbling up and that will be premiering, launching soon, on top of what I'm already doing with Chimin Dubayu with Southern Rep. But yeah, this has really got, have me churning in a positive way, but there's a lot going on that I can't share just yet, but soon, hopefully.
Well, I need to go on to Polanco now. This is another piece that you did. Can you describe this to me? What this about?
Yes. So this image was from a piece that I choreographed and directed, as well as co-conceived with the model that you see there, the faceless model, because of the faggot imagery that he's carrying in front of him, or they, excuse me. But that model there is Andre J. Was the first male model to grace the cover of French Vogue. And what we did was we built this show that paid homage to Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera that premiered at the Brooklyn Academy Musical for Burma Pride for their Every Booty celebration. And it was a piece that I as one's most authentic self, right? Every day, Andre J walks down the street as Andre J. And to meet someone who really embodied the spirit of life, and I felt like really understood the essence of Marsha P. Johnson, just that there is truly a struggle every day to try and be free and live one's truth, and there should not be. It was an honor to build a piece that paid homage to legends in the LGBT community, truly paved a way for us all. And with this show, we did that. We spread the message of loving oneself. There was some great choreography, wonderful dancers. Cameron Mitchell, we had Simone Rose. She's also a New Orleans girl. She's a Broadway girl, and she was in the show as well. We also had Mallory Dempster, who's also a New Orleans girl, not trained, but is dancing in New York. So we had a full NOLA crew up there, just spreading the message. And it was honestly one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had.
Mm.
Well, good. Yeah, I'm sorry. A little bit of that was breaking up, but I think most of us understood it. And again, thank you for sharing that with us. Let me go on to a little bit of more of the traditional fare, because most of what is left is the traditional musicals that we're going to talk about. Heidi, this is this Dames at Sea? Is that what that is?
No, that's
Is
actually
that
from.
on the town?
But yeah, Dames, that's from Hoping for Heroes, but that is an Andrew Sisters.
Okay. I was trying to figure it out. I said it's either On the Town or Dames at Sea, because I know you're getting involved with that.
Yeah, no, that was one of mine. But yeah, Dames at Sea was I think that was the last thing I did at the museum.
Yeah,
and
it was a great cast. I remember Banu had directed that, right?
Yes, and I am just so happy that Banu Gibson is in my life after that show. And it was a real, we were talking about how doing musical theater is so great because of the collaboration, and I mean any theater, but she was like, so you want to work on this piece, and I was like, oh, you're here, we're gonna do this together. Like that was a complete first for me to have a director in the room wanting to work through material, because she's a dancer and a tap dancer and a jazz musician, as well as a theater director. So we conceived a lot of it together and actually got some playtime in the studio, which, sometimes there's not, the process can be very lonely. I'm going to make it up. I have 3 hours to set this piece, and then, maybe we'll see it again in a couple of weeks. But it was very collaborative with her, and it was a really great experience.
I want to share one more piece that you did, and for those of you who didn't get to see, I think it was 2013. This was a revival on Broadway that won the Tony Award for Best Revival, and Tom Chianvicchi, Brian Batt's husband, brought it back, and that was Pippin. And if anybody's not seen it, there's a lot going on at any one time. You've got acrobats going. You've got people on trapezes, etc. How much of this was your input, and how much was it from Tom's focus as far as it goes? Was it a joint affair that you did?
Conceptual. I'm so glad to see a picture from that, and that's when I first met Polanco, I believe. So the conceptually, Tom and I spoke a lot on the front end, but when we rehearsed, we were most often at Lusher High School and in separate rooms. So a lot of the choreography was from me, and then he'd come look at stuff, and we may adjust stuff, at the end of the night. So.
But I mean, it's got a lot going on. I mean, were you going crazy with all of the movement in that particular piece?
Polanco, I'm sure you recall that number took forever. Wait,
is that right?
There was a lot of moving pieces. There was a lot of passing information.
Yes.
There was a lot of things happening. I feel like Pippin in general is just one of those shows. When you are working in separate entities, it's very hard to push through and move at a pace that you want, because it really is a show that I feel like that's done by a choreographer and director that is one. So all of it can funnel through one person. I feel like everybody did amazing with all of the challenges that we were given.
Yeah.
But yeah. And anybody who's seen this, I mean, it was an amazing show. I was lucky. I got to see it, the revival, twice. Once when Andrew Martin was still in the show, and then the second time when John Rubinstein, oddly enough, came back to play his stage father after so many years of having originated the role of Pippin. He ends up playing Charlemagne, and he's a friend of mine through Facebook, and we've known each other. He recently did Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, but it was just an amazing show to see. In both times, and again, Rachel Bay Jones, who won the Tony Award for Dear Evan Hansen, was involved in that in both the times that I saw it. Very, very good. So let me also go on to Jauné, some of the other things you did. This is Millie, right? In that early minor Millie, and Diane, you probably will chime in. This is one of your students that was Millie. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit. Is she doing anything now? Is she graduated, or is she still involved with you at the conservatory?
No, she graduated, and she's been doing. Actually, she came through New Orleans the last time White Christmas was in. She was on that tour, and like so many people right now in New York, I'm not sure what she's doing, but she's counting on Broadway to come back.
Amazing, yeah. And again, for those of you who did not get to see last year at Summer Lyric. A show that is so unfortunately not known as well as it should be. It was revived on Broadway, I think, in 2016 with a wonderful cast, Laura Benanti and among other people that were in it. But this little gem of a show by the same people that did Fiddler on the Roof, and next year, She Loves Me. And isn't that She Loves Me, if I'm not mistaken? That's at the diner, isn't that right?
Yes.
So that is where they're about to meet up in the course of the play. It's basically the story of the shop around the corner, and You've Got Mail. But essentially, the two protagonists don't know that they're actually pen pals, and that they're writing, and they're going to meet and have a get together. And this is the group dancing their way into your hearts as far as it goes. Now that must have been kind of fun to set, huh?
Oh, that was a dream. That whole show is it's just a love letter. It's just a jewel box. Every time we open it up, it's just more delightful. And then having Bobby's and Sean and Rich and Dodie and Meredith and everybody on that show, it was just a dream experience. But that piece, that was actually one of the very few shows for Summer Lyric where it's not like a hairspray, where we have 27 musical numbers. This was like, they're all like 8 minutes long, and here you go, you got an hour to set it. This was we actually had 3 hours to set that piece, and that was a luxury. But we got to really kind of micro-direct and decide exactly where your focus was going to be during that rehearsal instead of layering it on in the process through notes. But that diner piece was really fun, and the cast was super collaborative, very creative. But what a blessing.
And the role of course was originally played that Dodie Piper did was originally done by Barbara Cook, and as I said, Laura Benanti did it as well. But beautiful vocals, and Harnick and Bach, they got all the publicity for the following year for Fiddler on the Roof, and they should have, but this was a gem of a show, and I'm so sorry it doesn't get more notice, because it really is a wonderful little show, and really has some great little moments in it. Diane, anything else you wanted to add about that show?
I loved it. I just loved it. Jauné's work in that show was fabulous. I just it's a little Valentine, and I wish more people knew about it, because it's got such a great score and so sweet.
So we're getting towards the end of the evening, and I think I've gotten to just about every. Oh, Diane, I left out one of your most important pieces.
Oh.
What in the world could that be, ladies and gentlemen? That's like got to be the tap of all taps and tap shows around, right? I mean,
it is. It's very funny, because last year I got to direct and choreograph it at Summer Lyric, and then a couple of months later, that picture that you saw was from CCM, and I directed and co-choreographed it. And so I had a lot of 42nd Street last year. I love that show. It's everybody's dream, right? The understudy goes on, makes it big, and it's classic musical theater.
Well, again, you all are doing such great work, and I'm so glad that you all could join us. I'm sorry we've had some people, having to unfortunately, have difficulties with their connection, and I'll fuss with Cox Cable and all the other cable companies, whoever's responsible. But the fact that you all could be in one room, I don't know that anybody's actually been in one room together talking about dance the way we're doing it tonight. And again, I'm delighted that you could be here and you could share your experiences. And again, it's so important for people to understand that these shows don't put themselves together. that there's a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat and industry that goes into all of these shows, whether it's a jazz piece, whether or not it's ballet in a sense, or whether or not it's big musical numbers like we just saw on 42nd Street, or even smaller shows where it's important to have the movement help tell the story. And I think you all do an admirable job of this. Before we get ready to go, I just thought maybe I'd give everybody an opportunity to tell me what they're working on. I know, Diane, I'm going to let you start off because I know you're getting ready to go back to Cincinnati after you visit with your grandson. But please tell me what are you looking to do, and how are you going to be working given the environment with the pandemic going on? What things are you going to be doing to work? How are you going to make it happen?
Well, it's a good question, actually, Alan. We're all, struggling with the different things. In a few weeks, I'm going to be teaching for MTCA. Last year, I went to New York to teach for them, and this time I'm going to be teaching via Zoom. So everybody's going to be all over the country. At CCM, we're figuring out how we can teach maybe half the class in person while having the other half on Zoom. I was actually supposed to direct and choreograph Something Rotten, but that's been delayed as we don't know how to social distance and do that. So we're looking at some different ideas of shows to do to socially distance and coming up with our own works too. So it's going to be it's interesting, and it's a work in progress at the moment.
Jauné, what about you?
Let's see, same thing. I'm living that Zoom life. We're actually teaching dance class out of my house right now. It's the safest way to do it. Getting ready to start the school year back, to get everybody safely back in the studio or on Zoom training and learning. And I guess the next project we had coming up was the 2nd Street with JPAS, which we got 2 months of rehearsal in. So, I'm off book. We'll see that, hopefully we can come to petition in January, but, one day at a time,
but Zoom is a instrument that everybody's been using. They got to know pretty quick, and everybody's using it. So God bless Zoom. Jarrell, what about you? What are you doing, and what measures are you doing to make it happen?
In the next week or so, I'll be doing an Afro-Cuban inspired class with Studio NOLA. I have been doing private lessons throughout the pandemic. I am in the development of Jauné Buisson that's going on, and also a short film that I am working on with my own company. That's what's happening.
Very good. Polanco, what about you? What are you up to, and what are you doing to do it differently?
I am currently building a lot of work myself, taking the time to write. I'm working with the New Orleans Jazz Museum. I'm writing a musical that's documenting the history of jazz in New Orleans. I have filmed a couple pieces during this time. I feel like the best practices that I've been able to maintain were actually socially distancing, finding out how that affects the work, getting out there with a tape measure, actually measuring the ground, setting spike marks so we know the proximity we are from each other at all times, and figuring out how that can inform the work and find some cool choreography from that. Luckily, I've been fortunate enough to also work with the New Orleans Theater Network as the 2020 Theater Person of the Year.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to mention that. Yeah, that's fantastic. And unfortunately, we have not been able to award you your well-deserved honor, but hopefully they're hoping September, maybe they'll be able to do something. It may end up being done virtually. We're not sure, but you richly deserve Theater Person of the Year. Thank you very much for not letting me forget that.
I'm very grateful, and I'm honored to be able to just share the gifts that I have and to be able to share and tell stories. My grandmother's a storyteller, and she's always told me stories, and I feel like it's a great way for me to honor her while she's living by giving her the stories that she can enjoy too.
Okay, thank you. Let me let Heidi wrap things up. What else do you got coming up for you, Heidi?
Sure. Tap it on the Zoom. I think Jarrell said it great calling this an incubation period. I'm personally doing a lot of research and wanting to reframe my teaching as we go back to school at NOCA and elsewhere in the fall, and just make sure that the names and voices that we need to be sure to include in our curriculum are being heard. So doing a lot of research and writing, and then in August, I'm going to be starting my yoga certification. Why not?
All right, well, fantastic. Thank you all very much. You've made this a wonderful hour for me. I want to thank, again, Jarrell Hamilton for being with us. I want to thank Polanco Jones for being with us. Heidi Malnar for being with us. Jauné Buisson, thank you, dear. And also, Diane, I couldn't do it without you, Diane Lala. Thank you, and enjoy that grandbaby. It's been a wonderful night. Again, I want to remind everybody that a week from tonight, we will have actor Lance Nichols as our very special guest in the studio to talk about his work. Coming up Monday, we will have Clark and Carol with Kelly Lynn starring as Carol Lombard and Robert Pavlovich starring as Clark Gable. Until that time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us tonight on NOLA Theater Talk. And again, my name is Alan Smason. And again, until that time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you at the theater.